So for these three books, you explained the message of this book so far. Welcome to your midlife crisis. But for the other two books, what was the message that you want your readers to grasp in those books?
Well, I guess with my favorite column of yours was, I was writing a column 3 times a week for the Telegram, and then once a week for Worcester Magazine for altogether over 10 years, I suppose. And so I wrote a lot of columns. And some of them were really good. I don't mind saying that, you know. I think I'd be being falsely modest if I didn't think there were some really good ones. So I wanted to collect the ones that I thought were the best and say to people, this is my best work. This is the best I can do. So some were funny, some were sad, some were about me or my family, some were about other people. Some were outrageous, and some were very, I guess, somber. Some were about my childhood. And I thought that was kind of, I guess as a columnist, that was kind of my autobiography in a way. You know, that's how I'd look at it. I wanted people to know me through those columns. And so that's what that collection was about. As far as the Massachusetts Troublemaker book, I was, that book came out of, when I was a reporter for the Telegram in Leominster. There's a famous gravestone up there with the guy with a beard on it. And on his gravestone it says, "Persecuted for wearing the beard." And I was somewhat fascinated by that. At the time I was a reporter, but people had already done stories about that, and he was kind of a curmudgeon and stuff, and his name was Joe Palmer. And so I just kind of let that go. I never wrote about it when I was at the Telegram, but years later when I had my own newspaper, I decided to do a story about him. And the more I researched him, and I found a lot of stuff in Leominster Public Library that had been written about him, the more I realized what an incredible character he was. And not just an odd guy, because he wouldn't shave his beard, but he really had a lot of backbone, and he was involved with the fruit lens experiment, and he was an abolitionist. And so I thought there's other people like that in this state who are, you know, maybe they caused some trouble in their time, but they made society better in some cases, or maybe they just were troublemakers. So I proposed a book on that basis, and I came up with about 20 different people that I researched briefly, and I thought they'd be good candidates, and by the time I got done I had changed about 10 of them, because I found better ones that I liked. So the message of that book, I would say, if there is a message, is that people can change the world sometimes just by having their own vision and doing what they think is important.
In your books, is there any character that you see yourself in?
I'd like to see myself in a lot of the people I wrote about in Massachusetts Troublemakers. I definitely see myself in my book of columns, because I am in my book of columns. But and I did have a midlife crisis, like most people do, you know. So that not as severe as the jokes, but you know, everybody. But in the Troublemakers one, I'm not sure there's one person in particular that I see myself as, but like a combination of, I see other people that I know and love in some of the people. Like my daughter Jewel is a lot like Lucy Stone, just a good person. And actually, Horace Mann, researching the Horace Mann chapter is why I became a public school teacher so late in life. I'm 57 now, and I didn't become a public school teacher until 2 years ago. But when I researched Horace Mann, all the things that he said about public education ring true today. For instance, when he was the first Secretary of Education in the Commonwealth, and a lot of people did not want to pay taxes, property taxes, to support the education of Irish immigrant children. And he said, which is true today, you know, the children of these people, meaning the Irish immigrants, are going to have the rights of citizens, whether they have the ability of citizens or not, and thus we better educate them. And I think the same is true today. You know, sometimes people complain about their tax dollars going to educate people from other places, you know, particularly the Caribbean islands now, and it's like, well, these kids are going to be citizens of the United States. We better make sure that they're well educated. That makes us a better country. So a lot of things he said moved me to become a teacher. Can I become like Horace Mann? Probably not, but I'd like to.
Are experiences in these books based on someone you know or events in your life? I think for this book, mostly events in your life. But for the other books?
Yeah, well, definitely I mean, the first two are undoubtedly, the Welcome to the Midlife Crisis is like just taking things to a hilarious or bizarre level. Like, you know, not everybody gets a Corvette when they have a midlife crisis, but yeah. I'm sure we all think about it. But and you know, the book of the columns is all based on a lot of it's based on my own life. The Troublemakers one, not so much, other than things that move me that these people did are the things that I chose to write about.